Hey, this is Pradeep it's in Satura, and today I'm sharing my favorites from the Arts and Materials collection of Guerlain, also known as the La Matière collection. Obviously, each one focuses on one central raw material. This collection seems to have been launched around 2005 under Sylvain Delacourt in order to compete with the other big legacy brands, which all launched their own exclusive collections about the same time, be it the Chanel exclusives, Dior Privé, Hermès Hermesons, or even Tom Ford's private blend. A decade before this, Guerlain had already been sold to LVMH, so it was no more a family owned brand. Even Jean Paul had to compete for briefs to put out his own creations. There was no in house perfumer, so the fragrances were all created by different perfumers, including Olivier Poge, Francis Goujon, Daniela Andrier, and Annick Minardo, all big names today. Then Thierry Vasser and Delphine Jelk continued the line with their tenure from 2008 and 2014 respectively. Now, I've said before that I like the Arts and Materials collection. I just don't consider it to be the paradigm shifting collection or the pinnacle of Guerlain as some do. I prefer their classics that resonate more with me. These are essentially well made fragrances at very exclusive luxury prices. Till then, most Guerlain fragrances were affordable, apart from some Baccarat editions or some super exclusive B bottles or something. This was also a turning point with the Guerlainade, with more vanilla focused fragrances, and later even brought in florals, herbs, and such. Nowadays, anything goes with this collection. They keep pumping them out every year. The latest was a peach. Unfortunately, some of them have been discontinued. Plus, their recent releases have been mostly underwhelming. They even brought in some oud fragrances into this lineup. Constant change of names, bottles, and price increases are not great either. Nevertheless, there are some that I enjoy. So here are my 5 favorites in no particular order. At number 5 is Tonka Impériale from 2010, the only one composed by Thierry Vasser on this list. This was the first one I purchased from this collection with this completely impractical bulb atomizer. It is also the one I have finished a bottle of, and of course this had to be discontinued. Tonka and vanilla are unavoidable and indispensable in fragrances at this point, both emblematic raw materials of the brand, going back to Ricky 100 years ago, and of course Shalimar and many other compositions, with them being the main pillar of the Guerlainade. This one has this kind of particular golden, silky, yet resinous, slightly sweet, gourmandish tonka at the center. There is some bitter, cherried, almondy facets. They must have used this particular accord in a dozen fragrances at this point. Additionally, there's a soft tobacco accord with some subtle aromatic hints. The dry down is rather woody and powdery. I was initially a bit surprised to hear that this has been discontinued because it's a very likable tonka bean scent done as elegantly as possible in contrast to what you would find in other designer fragrances. I was told it just did not sell well enough to keep it in the collection. Because of that, people are asking a lot of money for this. I have an older bottle of Fève Délicieuse from Dior, with which this shares a lot of similarities. So I don't think I will splurge on a new bottle of this anytime soon. Having said that, Fève Délicieuse also has been discontinued. Otherwise, the best option to have a similar scent is the insanely priced Tonka Serapia Extrait at the moment. Who knows, maybe it's because of some material restrictions. Maybe Guerlain will bring it back at some point. We will wait and see. Tonka bean is not particularly an exciting note to be the focus of a fragrance, especially the overly sweet synthetic style, which is how it's handled in most cases. But if you ought to go in that direction, I will be hard pressed to find a better one than this. Next up is Cuir Beluga from 2005, released as part of the debut launch of the collection, composed by Olivier Poge. Obviously, at that time, he was not yet in-house perfumer of Chanel. Though it has leather in the name, it is yet another vanilla composition. The leather part is this soft, face sponge, kind of powder puffy suede leather. The vanilla is also relatively delicate, fuzzy and dry here because of that suede leather. The heliotrope helps bridge the suede leather and vanilla. There are subtle hints of almonds, tonka, even some tobacco and soft ambery nuances in here. The dry down is rather powdery once again. It's a composition from the time of the perfumer's own Dior. He has since referenced this even in his other creations, including the latest Comet. Many other vanillic leather fragrances have also been inspired by this. Next up is Iris Torréfié from 2020, created by their current in-house perfumer Delphine Jelk. This is the only one from her on the list. This translates to roasted iris, seems to be a spin on the French word for coffee roasters. It is predominantly an iris ambrette suede composition. It is in the style of your Dior kind of orris. It is lipsticky, makeup-like, buttery orris. Some classical character to it, more earthy and waxy. The ambrette brings in this vegetal, musky, sort of powdery, textured dryness. They claim there's coffee and cardamom in here, but they are only distant minor players. This, along with Abbé Rouge Privé, are probably my favorite Guerlain from the last 5 years. A very good iris scent. I think this is possibly even Delphine's best creation. After this, the collection kind of turned full-on commercial. Up to this, there was still some essence of the old Guerlain left. Then came the sweet bombs like Tobacco Honey, the Three Woods, and some other lukewarm releases. The bottles also changed after this. So it's almost like a new phase for Guerlain since this fragrance. There are rumors that this is also on the chopping block next. I hope that's not the case. Next is Bois d'Harmonie, released in 2006 and composed by Annick Minardo. This is a benzoin-focused fragrance inspired by Papier d'Harmonie. It takes this golden vanillic backbone of the arts and materials collection and adds these soft, spicy, camphoric, resinous nuances, not too far from Dior's Bois d'Argent from the same perfumer. Similarly, there is this soft, powdery fusion of iris, incense, and cedarwood. It can be balsamic but still not heavy. The softness makes for this comforting, beautifully evocative scent. Wears close to the skin. It was one of my best pickups of 2024. The timing with this purchase could not have been more close. A few months after I picked it up, I found out it has been discontinued. So I'm really chuffed I was able to pick it up before it starts to get harder to find, especially for a good price. Apart from L'Instant, Double Vanille, and Assos Mythique, this is one of the better modern Guerlain creations. Speaking of which, next is Spiritueuse Double Vanille. This is an older bottle, of course. From 2007, composed by Jean-Paul Guerlain and Sylvain Delacourte. One of the last from him and from a member of the Guerlain family. This fits right in with their other vanilla creations during the first phase of this collection. They combine vanilla with rose, honey, powdery suede, green angelica, resins and balsams and whatnot with those other creations I mentioned. This is their full-fledged vanilla scent. The spirit in the name obviously refers to the subtle rum accord it has. So it starts off sweet, syrupy, boozy, and camphoriferous. After a while, settles down to this more resinous, balsamic, faceted, amber, and benzoin combination. They have apparently used different variety of vanilla here, tincture, extract, vanillin, etc. So it's not a totally boring vanilla. It captures this deep, sweet, unadulterated essence of a good vanilla scent. It does not go overboard on the gourmand side either. Besides, it's not as bombastic as other popular vanilla fragrances today. In fact, most fragrances from this collection are soft experiences. This style of vanilla is another recurring signature in many fragrances that have been released since, especially with Guerlain. I do prefer my vanillas to be part of an ensemble, but occasionally, if we are talking of going straight to the essentials, in addition to good quality, this is certainly one of the best in its class. Other than these, there is Iris Ganache, Angélique Noir, and Neroli Outre Noir, which are also nice. Some others keep moving in and out of this collection, Frenchy Lavande, Louis, Assos Mythique, and such. Like I said in the beginning, overall, I like some creations from this collection, but I would only rate them after the Hermès, Chanel exclusives, Dior Privé, and Tom Ford's private blend, which I think have more interesting fragrances. When I am in the right mood for a good vanilla, these are my go-to fragrances. They have kind of become references for that. And I do think these are scents which one has to meet halfway. I have not been a fan of many of the later releases, They can be traditionally feminine leaning for some. Prices have increased drastically. Lots of people, including the classic Guerlain fans, don't seem to like them. But at the same time, they have also earned a lot of new audience, especially with luxury perfume lovers who just buy and enjoy every release. Nonetheless, we shall see what's in store for this collection in the coming years. Either way, those have been my favorites from the Arts and Materials collection. Thanks for watching, take care, and ciao.